Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. Yeah, we're coming into exciting times, aren't we? Oh my gosh. The BLF, Andile Mngxitama. Oh, he's in hot water. He is in hot water. By the way, I think, found my little representation of Andile. It's a troll. What do you guys reckon? Reckon that looks like Andile? Eh? With one of his mates? Pinocchio? Long noses? Anyway, the Equality Court on Monday found Andile Mngxitama's party, Black First, Land First, guilty of hate speech. The party was given a month to remove its political slogan, Land or Death, from its regalia, social media and website, and also tender a written apology to all South Africans within the same period. The apology will be published on the South African Human Rights Commission website. And of course, Andile is refusing to issue an apology. He's saying, up yours. Well, I've got a message for you, Andile. I think this is what you're going to be doing. Pog my horn. Getting back to the story. The clerk of the Equality Court was directed to send a copy of the judgment to the Director of Public Prosecutions for possible institution of criminal proceedings against the party and its leaders, said attorney at the South African Human Rights Commission, Boang Jones, on Twitter following the ruling. In response, a BLF spokesman, Lindsay Marsdorp, however, said they were still considering the ruling a victory because they would be remaining on the ballot. And there lies the crux. The Equality Court said it did not have the power to remove the BLF from the election. They said only the IEC can do that. And of course we know they won't. The whole thing is cactus in South Africa. They pointed out the application to deregister the BLF as a political party had failed. They added, BLF will not apologise, we will instead appeal the ruling. This ruling is nonsensical and shows the backwardness of the magistrate courts. The Constitutional Court has ruled on what hate speech is. The magistrate erred in finding our slogan hate speech. Strange enough, the court found one settler, one bullet to be historical and therefore not hate speech. Yeah, well, we know how politically biased the South African Human Rights Commission is. We've had so many examples of that. And none better than the way they treated the hate speech of the EFF. You know, quite extraordinary. The BLF went on to say, the court ruling is an overall victory for BLF because the application failed to stop BLF from being deregistered with the Independent Electoral Commission and therefore being stopped to participate in the elections. Land thieves failed to stop the BLF from being in the elections. This is a victory. Shortly after the ruling, BLF leader Andile Mngxitama appeared on Enka wearing a shirt with the Land or Death slogan prominently emblazoned on the front. He reiterated that black people should remain prepared to die for land in South Africa. Quite incredible. You know, the contempt that this little arsehole has got for the court system is quite extraordinary. They really do believe, as politicians, that they are above the law. Well, I think in this particular case, Mngxitama might have a shock coming. Let's hope so. In the attached video, you'll see Andile remonstrating with an interviewer about the decision by the court to proclaim his slogan, hate speech. And he makes this crazy point. He says, well, land or death is just written on a t-shirt. It doesn't mean anything. Well, it's actually words that do mean an awful lot. And if you listen to the interview, you'll see how he's just kind of flummoxed about how to explain what it means. Now, consider the case of the old South African flag. It's something that South Africans fought 2 world wars under. And it has a history which is totally unrelated to the apartheid era. It predates it by decades. And they are trying to make that hate speech. That's how crazy things are in South Africa. Now, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed, ring the bell, and have a great evening. Bye for now.
Land First Black First has been dealt a blow. Its slogan, Land or Death, has been declared hate speech. The Equality Court has given the party a month to remove the slogan from its regalia, website and social media accounts. BLF must also apologise on the website of the South African Human Rights Commission. Criminal proceedings could be instituted as well. The clerk of the Equality Court will send a copy of the judgment to the Director of Public Prosecutions. BLF leader Andile Mngxitama with me in studio this afternoon to talk more about these latest developments from the courts. Andile, very good afternoon. Thank you for coming in. Were you expecting the court's decision to go this way?
I was surprised about that decision, and it doesn't make sense. You know, if you listen to, and everybody will see the judgment tomorrow, court says, well, a slogan such as one settler, one bullet is not a problem, but a slogan such as land or death is a problem. We believe this is a nonsensical, indefensible judgment. We are going to take it on appeal, and we will win. I mean, even the highest court of the land have ruled things like umamuya jabula mangshayibuno is protected speech. So these magistrate courts are backward when it comes to keeping up with jurisprudence.
So hold on, I want to go back to the slogan itself, land or death. What do you mean?
Simply means that death is associated with landlessness. When they took our land, when they arrived here, white people, they killed us to take land. They didn't buy our land. They did not get our land out of a peaceful process. Death defined land dispossession. And quite clearly, if you want to get your land back, you must be prepared to die for it ultimately. Even as I speak to you now, members of my movement have been arrested, have been beaten down. Some of them, I have blood in their faces because they are saying, return land. So we associate the question of landlessness. If you're landless and you're a black person, quite frankly, you're dead. Because you need land to live. And when you die, your body needs to go into land to be taken care of. So the idea that we are landless 25 years later is actually a shocking thing in a country which has so much land, and only 35,000 white people own this land. But that's not the only thing about this judgment, by the way. This judgment was not about, land or death. This judgment was principally about deregistering Black First, Land First from the elections. And they lost. This is what the media is not picking up.
We'll get to that at the moment, because that also has to do with your issue with the FF+. So when you say land or death, are you not also, because this is the fear, are you not saying that if land is not given, there will be death on the part of those who do not want to give over the land?
But shouldn't it worry us that there is an assumption of fear, white fear? Let us be clear, white fear. And white fears becomes legislation, becomes law, becomes something that we as a people must go to court for, because there is a fear, an irrational fear, which has no evidence about imminent, threats. Hate speech is about imminent threat of violence. It is not about a slogan in a t-shirt, somebody passing by in the street, and you say, I can't sleep at night because of your slogan.
But Andile,
and we're not apologizing.
You've not answered my question.
Yeah.
Is there an interpretation of your slogan amongst either yourself as the leadership or among your members that also what you are saying here is threatening death if land is not handed over?
No, we're not making that threat at all. The guilty are afraid. That is the problem here. But we are simply saying we're dead as a people without land. We die to lose land. We prepare to die to get the land back.
But to die to lose land would imply that you're anticipating some sort of violence.
Of course. There is violence already as I speak to you. I'm saying our members are being killed even on the farms. White people are killing our people, and this has come from landlessness, right? So you must be prepared to die if you want this land to be returned. And you must also be truthful to the historical question. How did white people get land? Do you think that they were sitting on the table and having, dinner, and they say, okay, guys, they killed us to get our land, right?
So in the willingness to die, are you willing to begin or start that violence that would ultimately result in death?
I will not say anything of that sort. on national television.
Would you?
I will not say anything like that. But if you don't want to give us our land, we can tell you we're prepared to die for it.
Let me ask you this. How far are you willing to go to get the land?
To ultimate end.
Which means what?
Which means that if you don't give us our land, you must be very careful because we are prepared to die for it.
What will you do?
Everything.
Because being prepared to die doesn't explain
everything. What I will not do on this Rupert television is to give you ammunition to ban my party. You will not get that. Forget about it. This is a Rupert television owned by people who stole our land. Johan Rupert has got more than 15 interdicts against Black First, Land First. You want... The media is very interested to make sure to find some kind of an excuse to ban our movement. It's not, you will not get that from me. We are clear, land of death. We are not apologizing. We stand by our statement. We are going to appeal, and we are going to win again against land thieves. And they are terrified. We're going to Parliament. Our people are sending us there.
Sure, another time we can go into all of what the media wants. What I'm trying to get from you here is clarity for the
You get your clarity.
Who are listening
I will not give you ammunition to ban my movement. Forget about that. Not on this station, at least.
And there are already attempts to get you banned.
That's true.
Because the Freedom Front Plus has already said today that once your registration, your application to register as a political party is published in the Government Gazette, they are going to oppose it at that level. What are you going to do?
They've lost 3 times already. Freedom Front Plus is terrified, shivering. Wednesday, our people are going to put us in Parliament. We're going to meet them in Parliament, defeat them again, make sure we take the land they've stolen. There's nothing they can do. I mean, they're just now trying to tell their voters, oh, we're still fighting Black First, Land First. The key question is, why are powerful people, land thieves, big corporation owners so hell-bent as stopping Black First, Land First from going to Parliament? It's because we are the part that represents the poor and excluded, and we cannot be bought. That is a big difference between us and everyone else.
Just on this note of you and the FF Plus, to be factual here, last week wasn't necessarily a loss for the FF Plus, nor was it a loss for your party, because what the court did is direct the IEC to redo the gazetting process.
You can't say Freedom Front Plus, it lost. It said the matter is urgent because of the elections. Court must make a determination because there is election coming. What was that about? Court, they were pleading. Make sure that Black First, Land First, there's a decision against it so that it doesn't go to the elections. They lost. We are on the ballot. Wednesday, people have an option to vote for a party that...
The urgency bit is what they lost on, but the process is going to be redone, which could ultimately see you deregistered.
Well, could. We have strong Muti, we have strong Inyanga, we've got strong prophets, we've got a lot of white people on our side. White people are going to lose. We are on a winning streak, man. This is the important thing.
So you've got today a court ruling that your land or death slogan is hate speech. You've got the IEC being told to redo basically the process around your registration, the FF Plus likely to appeal that. You also have Patrice Motsepe, the Benere, sending you legal papers saying to you, stop.
We are in court with Patrice.
Allow me to finish my point, please, because I've allowed you to finish yours. Saying to you, stop mentioning his name in line with conversations about apparent attempts to overthrow Botswana's government. That doesn't sound like a lot of winning.
It's a lot of winning because the ultimate intention is to get us out. Yes, look at the bottom line. The bottom line is our enemies are trying to prevent us to go into Parliament. They are not winning. We are going there. Tomorrow we're defeating Patrice. We're in the High Court with him, where he bring a matter on agency to try to interdict us, basically throwing, you must see his papers. He's saying, I'm important. These are small people. They should not be allowed to say these things about me. Let's see what court says.
But is the bottom line not that you are reckless, Andile Mngxitama, and that you use inflammatory language, which is what lands you into trouble time and time again? Because on the Patrice Motsepe issue, what evidence do you have that he's involved in attempts to overthrow Botswana's government?
So, in fact, I just was talking to Botswanas right now. By the way, do you want me to reveal that actually Khama is in the country right now? Do you know who he's meeting?
That's good and well.
I can tell you who he's meeting. He's meeting Patrice and his sister. Okay. And you know that Khama is the man now leading the process of regime change in Botswana for the diamonds.
That's good and well. I want to come back to my question to you. What evidence do you have
the evidence
that Patrice Motsepe is trying to overthrow Botswana's government? Because a meeting alone doesn't prove that he is.
Do you know that Patrice's sister has been basically banned? She doesn't.
We all read that, yes.
Do you know why?
What evidence do you have?
Do you know why? Because she is involved in funding political processes to change or get her preferred candidate. We have her on voice note saying, my brother could buy these people airlines, right? We have
voice
that.
note?
Of course, so what?
Where's
She has
the
not.
voice note?
No, our lawyers are submitting to court tomorrow.
To share it with ENC?
I will send you. I'll be very happy to do so.
When you leave here today, will you share that voice
I will share immediately with you. It's not just one, by the way, 3. I can give you 4 even.
And
where you have basically Patrice's sister saying these things.
Obviously, with a voice note, you'd have to authenticate that it is her on the recording. How do you know that it's her?
The nice thing is Patrice himself is saying we said these things on the basis of a voice note. So
you're not answering my question. How do you authenticate that it is Bridget Khateb on the recording?
Of course, the Botswana publications have written stories. She has not contradicted that. And I myself, I know her voice. I've met her before. It is her.
But voices can be doctored?
Well, but I mean, if the speech is unbroken, how can you say it is doctored? Let the court decide tomorrow, because Patrice saying...
I'm asking you how you've authenticated that it is indeed Bridget.
Because she did not...
Spoken to her alone is enough proof.
It's enough proof that it is in the Botswana papers many times. It is, if I go to the Botswana Standards Facebook right now, that her face is there. And they put the son of the person they wanted and her hand, I mean, some steer boy, and she has not disputed this. So we are using that before court to say, well, we are not going to allow anyone to go to Botswana and interfere in the political situation, try to capture the Botswana ruling party because Botswana has got diamonds. But yes, the recklessness, you say I'm reckless. There's no recklessness, it is fear. And sometimes people we call house Negroes.
Okay, let's go back a few steps, because I'm sure all of that has moved a lot of people greatly. I want to go back to the issue of your land policy, which you think is what's going to ultimately get you elected into parliament. The ANC is claiming ownership of that because they are now leading essentially the process through parliament to expropriate without compensation. The EFF will tell you that we wouldn't be here in the first place if they had not led those calls through the party to get the debate going. So what makes you think that your position on land is what will get you into parliament, given that it's already such a contested space?
Here's the big difference. Both the ANC and EFF for the first time had agreed in parliament to amend the constitution to bring about land expropriation without compensation. This is February 2018. They have the 2/3 majority. A year later, they haven't done it. In fact, more than a year later, they haven't done it. Why? Because both parties will not do it. That's the big difference between us and them. They say it to expropriate votes of our people without compensation. They will not touch landowners because they are in the pockets of landowners. Us in parliament will make sure that, guys, every single day, you promise land expropriation, you have the 2/3 majority. What are you terrified of?
You're going to appeal this judgment, this hate speech judgment. When do you expect to file that appeal?
Which we'll do it within 20 days, which is, I think, 20 days, which is allowed in terms of the law.
And if the court finds again that it was hate speech, will you apologize?
We'll never apologize. We'll go up to the Constitutional Court, and believe me, even the High Court, without going to the appeal division, is going to throw this thing out. The Magistrate Court erred greatly. Call any expert on free speech, please. Not me. Anyone of the free speech, and ask them if this could stand as hate speech. It can't.
Still with that, are you not worried, Andile, that while it may not be your intention to incite violence on the slogan, that some who believe in your ideological position may then interpret it to mean this is a call to take land by violent means?
You know, I respect our people a lot, and I believe that they are rational people. I don't think that they would do something which is not consistent with peace, justice, reparations. So I'm not worried at all. But what worries me is how white fears are seen as something that must be protected. You are creating scenarios which do not exist. No white person has been slaughtered. Nobody has called for white people to be killed. But we're sitting here, even courts are listening to white fears. Nightmares of white people are becoming matters of national conversation, court decisions. It shows white power, and it shows also the exclusion of black people, and how you don't take us seriously as a landless people in our own country. It's an insult, quite frankly, that I am sitting here having to actually answer to a white woman who feels terrified by a slogan on our T-shirt, and now it's become an issue for court decision. It is shocking. It shows that 1994 changed nothing for black people. That is why I want Black First, Land First in Parliament. Remove this constitution, bring in a pro-black constitution that will start by saying South Africa belongs to black people and was stolen from us by white people.
Okay. Black First, Land First leader Andile Mngxitama, thank you for your time.